Hey everybody, Ashley Francis here, the holistic psychotherapist, and I would like to make a video that's a little different compared to my others in that I'd like to tell you my personal story of why I chose to become a therapist. You know, it annoys me so much when I listen to a podcast or just listen to some sort of publication of a therapist. They obviously get asked that question a lot, right? And the go-to answer is typically because I like to help people, or I was just made for this work. And yeah, that's true. I don't want to put a damper on that, but I kind of feel like it's a cop-out, and I don't want to do that to you guys. I don't want to cop out and just stay very surface level. And in fact, this is the fourth time I have attempted to record this video because it is very challenging. And I actually didn't think that it was going to be this hard, but it is. And not to mention, my mom also watches my videos, so she's going to be seeing this, and I'm kind of airing a little dirty laundry, so sorry, Mom. So anyway, I'll talk a little bit about the origination, where I come from, and a lot of it has to do with family dynamics. So my mom and dad got divorced when I was 5 years old, and my mom connected with her next husband pretty quickly after that. And so my brother and I were going back and forth between households at a pretty young age, and dealing with all of the things that go along with a divorced family, and then having a blended family, because I also took on a stepsister at that time whose name was also Ashley. So you can imagine the confusion in the household. And that relationship lasted between my mom and my stepdad for about 5 years. And he, over that course of that time, became addicted to drugs and became abusive, physically, emotionally. And I can't even imagine what else. I was a kid, so I don't know everything. But yeah, we were exposed to that. And I think we were probably shielded from the brunt of it, thank God. But, you live in that environment and you're going to pick it up. So, I basically grew up between two households, as, kids do in those situations. And my mom left that relationship and then got into another and is with that person now. And my dad got remarried. So essentially, my brother and I grew up in two different households. And that was really challenging, especially in our teenage years. That was the time where I really felt like we started to act out a lot more, as teens typically do. My brother more so than me. I was smart. I was the younger one. I learned from all the mistakes that he made. But it was tough. It was tough. And I really think that it was the challenge of juggling, managing all of those personalities, of having blended families and going back and forth between the households, having been exposed to some of the abuse, really making sense of all that. That definitely plays a role in having sparked my curiosity in family dynamics and dysfunction, and really influencing my attachment style, which I identify as anxious attachment. There was a lot of back and forth in my history, and I think that's what contributed to the anxious attachment. My dad is retired now, but was a workaholic. And I think that also plays a role in developing the anxious attachment style too. He played a very prevalent role. He was present. He was very physically present, but emotionally not so much. His head was always wrapped up in work and the almighty dollar. And so yeah, I think that led to some of my acting out behaviors, looking for a sense of recognition and love and approval. And a lot of that manifested in relationships. I made a lot of bad decisions in relationships for a long time. And gosh, I think it's just a mixture of being a free spirit and just being very independent by nature, but also just desperately wanting to be loved. It was not pretty when I was a teenager and in my 20s, and just staying in relationships that were not serving me just so you won't leave me. Gosh, I just think about that version of me now. And it's embarrassing, but it's also my truth. It's also my story. It's where I come from, and all that shit that I put up with. God, if I could talk to my former self now. So, in all honesty, as far as therapy goes, we're not a therapy household. We're not a therapy family. That wasn't something that we did. So that wasn't even on my radar. I just really pursued therapy because I loved psychology. I loved human behavior and the study of it. It's just infinitely fascinating to me. So that's what got me into it. And then, of course, it just led me into counseling because I like to help people, right? But just getting curious, like, why am I this way? Why do I feel and think and act all these kinds of different ways? And I see some similarities in my mom and similarities in my dad, and I'm just getting curious. And I was a bad therapist in the beginning in that I didn't get my own therapy. It wasn't a value. It was so much easier to focus on other people and not have to worry about me. And so for the longest time, I didn't get my own therapy. It wasn't until a few years ago, in fact, that I started out on a journey of self-improvement. And you can find my blog on the Reiki story on my website. I'm sure I've got some videos about that too. But I really started to turn some things around and got introduced to energy healing. And I started to develop some healthy habits. I ended a toxic relationship and started to eat better. I lost 90 pounds. You guys can see my journey on the website as well. And I just got tired of it. I really got tired of it. And it was just one foot in front of the other, one step at a time. And God knows I am still a mosaic. I'm still a work in progress. But having connected with spirituality and Reiki and just routine and rituals and connecting and community, it's just changed everything. It really has. And then also connecting with experiential therapy. As many as you know, I have totally changed my approach and connected with this beautiful community with therapists that focus on experiential therapy, which is more action-oriented types of therapy versus just talking about it. So it's allowed me to be a lot more artistic and creative and think outside of the box. And I get to be an artist every day. And I just love that. Absolutely love that. So, it's not the most glamorous story. It's not the juiciest story by any means. There's a lot of therapists out there that come from some pretty grim backgrounds, and I think their stories are juicier, but hey, it's me. That's me. That's my story, and I own it. I'm responsible for the good, bad, and the ugly. And if this helps just one person, then it's worth it. And I'm happy to share it with all of you guys. I'd love to hear any comments that you have. Please leave them below. And as usual, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Give us some love and support. Take care.